It was surprisingly light-hearted. The cult you were in, that is. It didn't have many rules, though some of them were quite annoying. For one, cultists, to show their devotion, were tasked with refraining from eating their favorite meals whenever possible. The exception being when it was actively being allowed by the cult's master. Like for example, if your favorite food was beef, then you'd be allowed to eat it during the monthly barbecue with the other cultists. That was why the notorious Bob Wellsap, the cult's enforcer, was allowed to shove ungodly amounts of candy into his gut, though that was simply because of his second favorite meal, long pig. Bob Wellsap was an animal, needing to be tamed after all. Many members had obviously lied when first being initiates, saying that their least favorite food was actually their favorite. You were among them. And while this was a mere symbolic rule, it was also enforced quite harshly. The reason for that was quite simple. The more zealous members would then repent by offering themselves as sacrifices should they break the rules. The bad track record of the organization when it came to rituals didn't matter here. Though maybe one of the reasons your group failed as so many rituals was quite simply the fact that it had too many members. It seemed that the rituals that did work, somewhat, had more devoted members participate in the ritual than not. Funny thing, this ritual stuff. You yourself thankfully never had been part of a sacrificial ritual. You mostly attended candle rituals. This was thanks to the fact that the cult kinda needed you for the candles. In your normal life, you worked at an essential oil store inside of the town's mall. This meant you had easy access to candles that could be used for rituals. You sometimes wondered, though, if a housewife ever summoned a demon by accident by lighting too many rose-scented red flame candles. The fact that your candles had nice smells, together with the fact they worked for this stuff, made you invaluable to the cult. At least that's what you were led to believe. The organization became aware of your rule breaking one night, when you accidentally admitted that the food you had chosen as your quote-unquote favorite was actually your most hated one. Initially, no one bat an eye though. Bob Wellsap and your master immediately made the connection. Bob had been starved of long peg. Your master knew that. It had been too long. The voices in Bob's head keeping him up at night. He would savor this. So as you were led to believe everything was A-okay, after all, no one else in the cult had noticed, you were, from this moment on, in big trouble, even though no one knew. After the cult meeting concluded, Bob stalked after you, driving behind you in his unmarked SUV. How you didn't notice the huge car following behind you was your own fault. You were humming a tune as you drove towards the food court. That's how the town called a small corner where about 4 different private fast food restaurants had opened up next to each other. Surprisingly, there were no tensions between the owners, as everyone offered different food for different tastes. You entered the small pizza place with a smile. "Hey, Peppino."
Mamma mia, it is my best customer, the usual, my friend.
You know it, Peppino. The anxious owner of the pizza place immediately rushed into his kitchen at Mach speed, as you sat down on a nearby chair. Bob, meanwhile, looked at you through the restaurant's glass door. Seriously? Seriously. Who went to a pizza place after a cult meeting? That was casual. Now, come to think of it, it was better to act normal after a beating of your organization, wasn't it? Okay, fine, maybe he was overreacting. And maybe, just maybe he was a teensy tiny bit jealous you didn't go to Boys and Grills, the place where he was employed at. You soon left Peppino's Pizza with your order, your favorite kind of pizza. Licking your lips, you set the box on the passenger seat before driving off, Bob in close pursuit. Now you had made it personal. He only stopped to realize how petty he was as he parked his car behind yours. He watched you pick up the pizza and walk to your house door. The man meanwhile just blinked perplexed. How the hell haven't you noticed him yet? He quite literally parked right behind you the same time as you did. Truthfully, the moment you left the abandoned church the cult used for meetings, all your thoughts were on your reward pizza. After all, the best thing to end a week is eating a pizza made with heart and anxiety. As Bob observed you in your living room eat, he decided to check around your family-owned house. You had gotten it as an heirloom from your father's cousin, after her unfortunate game ending at the hands of what else but alcohol. You were just glad she had been transported into the hospital before her unfortunate end. You would have felt super uncomfortable living here if she had left this world in the house. Meanwhile, your parents were just glad you left home. In fact, your parents were paying your various insurances and even your taxes just to ensure that you stayed here. Though looking at how messy you turned this once beautiful, tidy house, it wasn't a mystery as to why. You were just way too lazy. Oops. You dropped your remote. As you reached down for it, Bob seized his opportunity and quickly jumped through your open living room window, stealthily, quickly sneaking around all the empty soda cans and cardboard boxes of frozen fast food that was strewn everywhere, hiding inside your kitchen. He had a look around. The kitchen oven looked abandoned. Inside the cupboards, only dust-covered plates and glasses. He furrowed his brows. Were you only using a single plate and a single glass? If so, for how long have you been doing that? Gross. He furrowed his brows. Opening your fridge, it was practically empty too. Confused, he then noticed your air fryer. And deadpanned. Opening your freezer. And as expected, it was completely overloaded with nuggets, fries, mini pizzas, and... Oh! He smiled. Mozzarella sticks. Delicious. He then shook his head and closed it. He needed to get his bearings. You were the living definition of a need. You really needed a woman's touch, which was ironic, since you already were one. If Bob wasn't here to punish you, he'd make you an actual meal for once. You seemed like you needed one desperately. The noise of your TV suddenly stopped, replaced by the boot-up noise of your laptop. Quietly, he snuck towards you, peeking at what you were doing. And he almost instantly retreated, face blushing, heart pounding. What you were doing was incredibly private, and with his back pressed against your fridge, he slid down to the floor. Bobby... You groaned loudly. Wait, did you see him? No. He was hearing things. He was trying to rationalize what you were doing, and he could only come up with one conclusion. His mouth twitched excitedly, albeit unintentionally. He stared at the floor for a moment, as he waited for you to, finish. Bob sighed. This really wasn't going according to plan. Though, come to think of it, he didn't even realize there was a plan to begin with. The man waited patiently, and waited. Come to think of it, waiting for you to go to bed was probably the best idea. However, at around 3 a.m., this entire thing became too dumb for him. The man had the perfect idea, And you ruined it. Grumpy re-entered your living room just to finish the job, only to find you passed out on your sofa, covered only by a thin blanket. There were even 2 slices of pizza still left. At least what was playing now on your laptop was something normal. You quietly sat down on your coffee table after pushing away your laptop. Bob stared at you in your sleep. Honestly, after what he heard you shout earlier that night, that really put him off guard. And truthfully, he was still thinking of it, like a pleasant memory or a dream. Shaking his head, he soon grinned widely. Technically, he didn't have to game end you. He unsheathed his cutting knife and dragged the blunt side across your face to wake you up. Your shriek was only held back by his massive hand pressing on your mouth. It took you a few minutes to stop resisting, and when you finally stopped thrashing and bashing, you fell silent. This was kinda like your fantasies, just way more realistic and scary, and he was still wearing clothes. He leaned back on your table, in an intimidating and domineering pose, grin wide and wild. A droplet of sweat ran down your forehead. You knew Bob's methods. He must have been inside your house for a while. You blushed at that realization.
A little birdie told me you broke the rules.
You immediately knew what he meant. Actually, the moment you admitted the truth by accident was the moment you knew, so this was kind of inevitable. You just didn't think it was this serious.
Did you know about 7% of a human's weight is just their blood?
You shrugged.
Do you know what 7% of your weight are?
You shook your head.
Wanna find out?
He got up on his feet, knife in hand. He laughed threateningly.
Don't worry, sister. I'm not going to game end you. I'll just hurt you really, really bad.
Immediately your scared face was replaced by a straight-up deadpan, and Bob blinked, taken aback.
What?
Did you really have to steal a line from a terrible superhero movie? Bob blinked.
What are you talking about?
I mean, it's threatening, sure, but knowing where it comes from kinda took all the fear out of me. He frowned and sat back down on your table. Brother Bob? He looked down at his hands.
I've been using that line a lot. No one ever complained. I didn't even know it was from a movie.
Awkwardly, you looked around. Shaking, you pulled away your blanket, taking off your shirt and throwing it to the ground, presenting your chest to him. Just get it over with, okay? He blinked, confused, and slightly turned on.
You're kinda ruining my fun here.
You blinked. Oh no, don't hurt me. Better? Now it was he who deadpanned. He was about to say to put your shirt back on when he got a devious idea. Your eyes were closed as you were presenting yourself. You didn't want to see his knife into your chest after all. And lewdly, the man bit his lower lip. Well, if she's offering herself like this, he thought. And the moment you felt his hands on you, you opened your eyes in surprise. His gropes were painful, yet your eyes turned to his Yet your eyes turned to his right. There was his knife. You blushed hard. Oh, you just wanna use your hands for this? Okay. I guess that works. Not waiting for any further invitation, Bob pushed you down before climbing on top of you. Licking his lips, he whispered into your ear.
Naughty girls like you need to be punished no matter what. And I think this punishment is quite appropriate, isn't it?
Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. I also have a Ko-fi and Patreon if you want to support me financially. And I also have a community Discord server. All links are down in the description. Hope you have a good day. Until next time.